Greetings everyone, this is the Hipster Snek, and today, given that we're pretty much caught up with our tabletop sheet talks, I thought we'd do something a little out of the ordinary. So today, I'm going to begin ShadowRun Returns, because I won't stop talking about it. I thought we'd dive on in. Now, a few parameters. Brand new game, obviously, and we're going to use the Dead Man switch, which is the canon story of ShadowRun Returns. There are other stories you can play, there are fan-made stories, and if you guys have any recommendations for them, let me know, and I might consider doing them, or if you've made one, let me know about it and what the name is, and we might give it a shot in the future. But for now, we're going to stick with Dead Man Switch. Okay, so this is actually a character that I've already made, essentially, because as I mentioned, I created a bunch of GM PCs for my Shadowrunners. So I wanted them to always have someone on standby to help out in case of the worst case scenario. So it's a female dwarf street samurai. Yes. That may sound a little strange, I'll be the first to admit. But there's a couple different reasons for it. The first being I've yet to play a dwarf. It's actually the only meta type I haven't played. As you see, Shadowrun goes heavy into the punk aesthetic. I don't know, maybe something like that? I guess that's, like, roughly, except for the piercings. Well, nothing in life is perfect, right? This is going to be Rinko. Karma represents the experience characters earn while running the shadows and achieving goals. Karma is used to improve attributes and skills. An attribute or skill rating can be increased by spending karma equal to the next increment of that rating. Thus, improving your body from 4 to 5 requires 5 karma points. You have some karma available to customize. Now, technically speaking, Shadowrun is a classless system. Generally, what you're building towards is some kind of party niche. But at the same time, you're not necessarily married to that. And by that I mean, for instance, if you can have a decker, or a hacker for those who aren't familiar with the terminology, but still be really proficient at combat, or even magic, if you stat it right. Now that would be unusual, for sure, but that would be a good way to catch guys off guard if you could pull it off. So, 5 karma is not a lot, because as you see, if I bump my body stat up 1, I would immediately spend everything. That's actually not a bad idea, given that I'm playing Street Sammy. Shadowrun Returns can be fairly difficult, because the most expensive thing in the world is getting more help. So a lot of missions, you're kind of going 1 on 1,000. And to give you an idea of how it works, and this is a little different than how the tabletop game works, this is actually closer to, I want to say, 4th edition mechanics, because this is, I believe this game launched contemporaneously with 4th or 5th edition. Someone in the comments want to correct me on that. And it was kind of a revival of the Shadowrun brand. There had been Shadowrun games before. There was one on the Super Nintendo and one on the Sega Genesis, and both of them are about equally unplayable. Because you really have to just know how the game works just by intuiting it, and that's not always easy to do with early 90s adventure games. But both those games are actually canon, for the sake of Shadowrun Returns. There's some continuity between them. And generally, body is its own stat. It has no skills that fall underneath it. And there's also different caps. Humans and elves cap at 9 body, dwarves at 11, orcs at 14, and trolls at 17. Those are the 5 meta types, by the way, and we'll be interacting with characters from all of them at one point or another. Quickness is chance to dodge, broadly speaking, but it also influences gunplay. So if you're going to be using guns, quickness is your best friend. Ranged combat is the sub-skill, and under that are the specialties. And we're going to take a shotgun specialty, because we need a shotgun specialty, because I like doing things the subtle way. And dodge is the, well, dodging aspect of, indeed, quickness. So I'm going to bump that up, because I don't like being shot very much. I'm not going to pretend to be like a master of this game. I'm not. Far from it. However, I played through this game a couple times. I'm pretty decently competent, and I think I know enough about the game to have some fun with it. And I'll try some stuff that I hadn't had the ability to before, because your stats, because this is indeed a role-playing game, your stats will influence what kind of things you can and can't do. Strength is largely useless to us, so I will be forgoing it. You have unlimited ammo, but your weapons do need to be reloaded. That's where the asterisk there comes in. Biotech will be useful. Decking we're not going to get into, because that's just not what we do. ESP control is a Decker ability. That's for Expert Systems Program. Cute little fun with acronyms there, but we're not going to get into any of that, because that's not how we do. Willpower is where casting comes from, and that's actually a Dwarven specialty. Dwarves actually make fantastic mages and shamans. Charisma. Charisma is an elven specialty, because of course it is. And shamans rely heavily on it. But charisma is still really, really good to have. Because you see these diamonds in particular, you get a thing called an etiquette. Etiquettes are basically sets of terminology. Like, say, for example, one of the instances they give you is, like, socialite. Your runner has been around rich and snooty people, and therefore they know how to talk to them. That would be an etiquette. Or your runner was former military, so they know military terminology and slang. That's an etiquette, and that's how the game handles them. Right now we're only going to take the one, and I think I'm going to put... yeah, let's bump up ranged combat. We're going to be a street Sammy, so we're going to go for the big shooty bang bang, and I'll try to raise my body as soon as I can. And yeah, shotguns are my personal favorite. Later games add sniper rifles, in addition to just pistol SMG shotgun rifle, which will actually have lower accuracy at closer ranges and higher accuracy further away. But that doesn't become a thing until Dragonfall, so we're not going to worry about it. I might put some points in close combat later, but this is the general overview. This is very simplified versus how typical tabletop Shadowrun goes. And I'll leave a comment down below telling me just how in-depth and crunchy you want me to get. I've really only played 5th and 6th editions, so I really can't talk about anything prior to them. And again, this is based on 4th World mechanics, so it may have been more like this for all I know. But this is how the game handles things. It's all just your 6 main stats and then everything that breaks down underneath them. And a lot of these we can ignore. Like, I could actually ignore Charisma, for instance, if I really wanted to. But I think Charisma opens up a lot of fun options, and we're going to have some fun playing. Let's get into it. Ah, yes. Etiquette is about knowing how to behave in various social situations. The right etiquette can give an edge in certain conversations. Choose an etiquette from the list below. Choosing etiquette does not cost karma. Now, this is a way that you can kind of customize your Shadowrunner. Now, as said, this is Rinko Watanabe, who was a GMPC/NPC, recurring throughout several of the games that I GM'd. Rinko married she's a Japanese dwarf who married her husband, Yoshi, and they run Rainbow Sushi, which became the hub of operations for a lot of our runs. And Rinko was the street Sammy, Yoshi was an adept, a physical adept, and Honoka was the Decker. And later I added Fallen Snow as a mage option. Rinko, let me think, because I don't know which one of these would be really good for her, because she was definitely the talker, which was really funny, because I always joked that she was the extrovert in the relationship. Yoshi mostly didn't speak unless spoken to, and he would respond to most situations with "Hi, domo," or "Yes, very," if you want to take that as literally as possible. I'm gonna give her... As I recall from what the notes I had jotted down, Rinko came from some level of affluence, so I'm actually gonna give her socialite. Yoshi was kind of a street urchin who fought his way from the bottom to the top, so he would actually have like Gang or Shadowrunner or Street. I believe one of these disappears in Dragonfall. I think Street gets merged into Shadowrunner, I believe. Or maybe some others got added. So, Rinko is her actual given name, which is not what she goes by. As it says here, many runners use a street name, a handle, or a working name, names like Halfjack or Lady Z. Others stick with their given name or adopt a nickname. Rinko's runner handle was Diamond Ring. Do I have letters for that? Yoshi was Silencer because he was a literal, honest-to-God ninja, and Honoka never got one because I thought she might actually end up in the party, and then she didn't, so she never got one. Time to begin. Down and out, your apartment, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's got 4 walls, a roof, and isn't on fire. We're shooting for the stars here, aren't we? Even the cockroaches have fled in search of better accommodations. Not exactly a runner's dream pad, but right now it's about all you have left. Running into the shadows is all about feast or famine. One day you're Nova Hot, working jobs that allow you to eat at 5-star restaurants. The next, well, you're here. This one's a famine for the ages. Slagging Fixer hasn't called. Yeah, welcome to Cyberpunk cursing, which is always an interesting thing. The money's run out and then some. Sinless and free to starve through the cracks of a society run by megacorps who just want your new yen. Some things need to change, and soon. I guess I should explain a little bit about this. A sin is is an identification number. It's like social identification number, I want to say. I could be wrong. I'll put the note on screen here saying what the actual acronym is for. But the sinless are people who don't have these ID chips. Basically, you either carry a card with you or it's a chip implanted in your skin. And, yeah, that sounds really dystopian. Welcome to Cyberpunk. The currency of the world is the new yen because Cyberpunk has a extreme obsession with Japan and Japanese culture. And so, yeah, the new yen essentially runs a conversion rate. You can understand it as a new yen is basically equivalent to like a modern American dollar. Or maybe the American dollar of 20 years ago, but let's not get into that. You actually start the game under normal circumstances with no money on hand. Any money you don't spend on character creation is supposed to get dumped out of your accounts as ways to give your runner incentive to get to work straight away. I'm a little nicer than that. I usually let my runners keep some percentage of their character creation money, but in this case, no, we don't get that, and money's going to be tight the entire game because that's how Shadowrun Returns rolls. And here we have Diamond Ring. That's about what I envisioned her looking like, so that's pretty good. Anything that has an icon, we can interact with. The magnifying glass means we can look at it, and we can't do a great deal in here, obviously, so let's look at what we can. Slip of paper with your bank balance enough to cover you through the end of the week. Your notebook, calendar, contacts, that kind of thing. Now we have some options. We can cancel, obviously, or go into whatever options are freely available to us. And these can change based on our stats and based on things that our character knows or doesn't. Card of Detroit, Fixer, no response to messages. Dowd, dead. Felton Nash, Fixer, missing. New Larry, dead. Ugh. R.I.P. New Larry. You were not as good as old Larry, but, Sam Watts, probably in a gutter somewhere. Sangoma, dead. Halfjack, retired or dead. List goes on. All our other dead ends are just plain dead. Man, our social life is, about as active in this game as it is in real life for me. It's empty. Nothing to do. So we have a bathroom, some washer and dryer machine, and, we're getting a phone call. Let's check our vid phone. The screen leaps to life, making you squint against its brightness. The face on the screen is laughing. Sam Watts. Hey, buddy, hope I didn't catch you at a bad time. He giggles. He's drunk again, or worse. Shouldn't have given you my comm code, gonk. You're zoned. Where have you been? I haven't heard from you in months. I'll be nice. Rinko was always very sympathetic to the team, so she's going to be a bit nice. Don't bother with your side of the conversation. I'm not really here. Just one reason for this vid. Someone finally geeked me. I'm dead. I probably had it coming. When you're an unsavory character like myself, you tend to associate with other unsavory characters who often partake in unsavory business, like you, for example. So, why am I dead? Who knows? Probably my fault. I wonder where you are right now. I bet you hit a big payday and you're living high on the hog somewhere. Ah, if only. Some of us are born winners and some of us are me. Hey, you remember that Rinraku run when things went to hell and we lost Dowd? Or that makeshift saloon on the docks afterward? I really had your back that night, didn't I? Oh, by the way, there's going to be cursing. I'm going to try to mitigate it somewhat, but the text will still be displayed on screen. Watch at your own discretion, I suppose. Dowd, that's a name you haven't heard in a long time. Oh, having an Obi-Wan moment. It's a name I haven't heard in many years. That's a terrible impression. I apologize. So here is Sangoma, New Larry, and that looks to be our buddy Sam. What's up? Sangoma's an urban shaman who proved her worth during a run against Fuchi last fall. She's a quiet type, experienced runner. We're out in the open here, Diamond Ring. Ready to bolt. Our fixer owes us for the run, and for Dowd, we wait for another appointment. Our fixer owes us. Your call. He really is a woman of few words. You've been running with New Larry for about 6 months now. He's a combat mage with a bad tattoo and a bad attitude. He knew Dowd almost as well as you did. Dowd, never saw anybody die like that before, idiot. He shakes his head. I hate this fragging city, Diamond Ring. It's wet, and the rain feels like acid, and I want out of here. Shut your scream about the rain, we lost a man. Wait for the money. I get it. Take a pill. Relax. Sure, Diamond Ring. Sure, whatever you say. I don't know, Diamond Ring. Sam's a good guy. He can hold his own in a fight, but he's been hitting the bottle pretty good lately. Never on a run so far, but he needs watching. He shakes his head. This run went sideways 9 ways a Sunday. Now the fixer's late. Smell funny to you? You better show. You need the money. What do you think we should do? Smell funny to you? Yeah, it smells funny. Look at where you set the meeting. It's supposed to be a public place. Got the direct, Sam. We both know why Dowd went down, and it wasn't the fixer or some other paranoid chip dream of yours. Oh, right. In the future, drugs are still a thing. But a new way of getting high are chips that you insert into a slot that's directly connected to your brain. It's about as wholesome as you're imagining. Now, some of these can be used for things like translator programs where, like, for instance, I don't speak Japanese. So if I went to Japan, I could get a chip to slot into my brain slot thing, and basically it would have, like, an onboard dictionary for me. You'd sound like a textbook speaking very robotically, but it would get the job done, and people would understand what it is you're doing, or are attempting to say. But some people use these for what's called BTL, or better-than-life chips, which basically give you emotional highs. They can honestly be more addicting than actual chemical addiction can. So, yeah, we're going to get into some of those later. Not ourselves, but we're going to see their effects. Sam's smile is a toothy smile. I've been waiting for this all night, New Larry. New Larry has something he wants to say, don't you, Larry? Go ahead, spill it. You were sloppy. He laughed. Sloppy? You think I was sloppy? You've been twitchy all day, son. Look at your hands. They're shaking. Well, up, Sam. If you screwed up, admit it. You've been drinking. Is that true? Did you miss a beat? I will ask. I will not accuse Sam. I will ask. No, Diamond Ring. I didn't miss a beat. I was on my game the whole time. Remember, I was on point. Knew Larry was supposed to cover Dowd. Something dawns on him. He leans into New Larry, amused and dangerous. We were set up. And he knows it, don't you, Larry? What was that call you made before we hit Rinraku? How come you couldn't geek that guy before he unloaded on Dowd? I seen you fling a lightning bolt, son. He should have been burnt toast before his gun cleared the holster. New Larry checks his watch, licks his lips, looks over your shoulder at the darkness. He's looking for someone, and it's not the fixer. Okay, I can see where this is going. You chummers are damaged. I'm out. Did you keep us here long enough? Hands where I can see them. How much you pay to sell us out? He stops and smiles slowly, appears on his face. Honestly, it didn't take much. Just enough to get me back to Portland and set up the Cush Corp job. I'm out of this racket. We got incoming. New Larry relaxes and throws you a direct-eating grin. Looks like my new Rinraku friends are finally here. They're gonna take that hard drive off your corpse, buddy. We should choose our friends more carefully, Diamond Ring. At least we have each other. The guy was never my friend. Buy you a drink after this. You owe me several. And now we're gonna get our combat tutorial. I'm going to zoom out so you guys can kind of see what's happening here. So, this is a turn-based, cover-based shooter. Having some cover is better than none at all. You're now in turn-based combat mode. Each character on your team has an action pool. Spend these actions on movement, attacks, or using spells and items. Once your team's turn is complete, the enemy team will move and attack. Additional tutorial information is available from the reference guide, which can be accessed from the upper right corner of your PDA menu. So, we have New Larry over here, and our team is in blue. Their team is in red. And these guys, as you can see, those hit percent chances are pathetic. And obviously, I'm swinging a shotgun, so... What I'm going to do is I'm going to get Rinko behind some cover, which, as you see, she'll automatically adjust to the terrain. And I'm going to give our friend here a little love tap. That's pretty good. So that's the end of her turn. So I'm going to get Sam over here and do kind of the same thing. I'm going to get him... No, that bar stool doesn't count as cover. Things that sound more obvious before you say them out loud. The things that matter most are cover and line of sight. And even cover that shouldn't logically help you is still better than no cover at all. So Sam's going to get back here, and I'm going to give this guy another little tap. Now Sam's using a rifle, so sometimes he'll actually do multi-hits. Sangoma has the benefit of already being in cover, so I'm just going to attack. But maybe I can show off a little. Oh, she's a rabbit shaman. No, she's a bear shaman, I'm sorry. The power of bear is a healing. Healing in this game is hard to come by. If you have any healing ability at all, you're already money ahead. And that's something you're going to see particularly later, and especially in ShadowRun Hong Kong, where the game is particularly hard. So I'm just going to put that away, and we're just going to take care of this guy for good. Sangoma's already in cover. I'm going to kind of scoot her over. It's kind of hard to tell because she's so big, but orcs and trolls are just like really, really beefy, so... Now this guy was kind enough to move out into the open, so I'm just gonna... Thing with shotguns is they can spread, so if you have allies sitting really close by, you can accidentally hurt them, so try not to do that. I have done that a little more than I'm okay with admitting. So Sam's going to take care of that. And actually has pretty good mark on this guy, so we're just going to hit him from a distance. The further away you are, the worse your accuracy is going to get. We actually have pretty good line of sight right now. Alright, that was a really good opening turn. But the enemies have reinforcements, and here they come. So now they're coming from this other side, so I'm going to try to get into a position here that's a little more advantageous. And I'm going to actually take this turn... I can go ahead and fire, that's fine. I was hoping it would spread fire, but maybe not. So Rinko actually has no more bullets in her gun. I'm actually going to have to take a turn to reload. I'm going to get Sam over here. He's going to do much the same. Now, obviously, he's using SMG, so he has a little more freedom. Wow, that was lucky. Whoops, that's a grenade. That's not good. Didn't care for that much. I really need to get my body stat up quickly. This is bad. I didn't get to see that other part. So, now it's time to bust out a little bit of magic, since Diamond Ring took a bit of a hit there. We're going to invoke the power of the bear totem. Or rather, I need to get into a position where I can. So I'm actually going to kind of wedge her behind this table. It's a little awkward, but that'll work. And then I'm going to invoke the power of bear. And the last damage inflicted is healed. So it's actually, like, better to take one great big hit than to take thousands and thousands of little ones. Uh-oh, we got a shaman. Common parlance in Shadowrun, geek the mage first. Now, I can't shoot because I have no more ammo, but we can fix that and take a turn to take an action point to reload. Now, this is not great. These numbers could be better. And that spirit is probably going to get closer. So this is something of a... I'm in trouble if I do, I'm in trouble if I don't. So I'm going to take a shot. Ooh, that was very lucky. Critical hits come in two flavors, 1.5 times and 2 times. We're going to see if we can't take care... Come on, Sam, I'm counting on you. Whoops. Gotta reload. Yep. That's okay, because Sangoma also has line of sight, and maybe she can do a little bit of damage. If we get rid of the mage, then the spirit he summoned dispels. Oh, I kind of forgot about him. He was so far away, I didn't even notice. Diamond isn't going to have a terrible shot on this, so I'm actually going to put her... something like this would be better, I think. Oh, he's sitting on a ley line. Okay, I'm not a mage, so I can't see them, but there would be white circles where he's standing. If you're in a ley line, your magic, I believe, is a bit more strong, and I believe the cooldown is reduced a little bit, too. Well, that wasn't great. Suppressive fire only works when nothing's actually there. So Sam's going to come and lend a hand. As is Sangoma. Now, technically speaking, you don't need Sangoma to survive, but I'm going to try anyway. Because I like to save as many lives as I possibly can. Ooh. You okay, Sam? Sam's breathing is heavy and he looks shaken. That was a heck of a thing. Alright, Sam. You did good. You don't look so good. Oh, you did good. You're born for this gig, Diamond Ring. Me, not so much. I think I'm gonna hang it up. Find a nice brothel somewhere. Stay drunk till I croak. What about you? Think you'll find a better class of people? I do this, long enough to know. Find a safest out of town. Live over in Rockwell has a long memory. I do too. I don't forget my friends. As you noticed in the Contacts book, Sangoma was listed as already being dead. So if she dies during this run, you're not penalized for it because it's already a foregone conclusion. But this means that because I saved her, it was not on my watch that Sangoma passed away. This is a very minor detail, but one that I actually applaud the game devs for considering. You stare at Sam's face on your comm link. Shake it off. Shake off the memory. Focus. I had your back that night, didn't I? Now I'm asking myself, who would care if I die? Who would give a rat's rear end? Better or worse, your name's top of the list. Maybe it's the only name on the list. So I set up a dead man switch to send you this call. I got 100,000 new yen insurance policy, payable when you find who creased me. Alive, I thought it said ceased me. I'm like, that's an interesting euphemism. Alive with a conviction or in a body bag with justification. Either works. Contact my law firm, Rogers, Mangert, and McCain. When the job is done, they'll know what to do. He turns to his left. Chet? Camera swivels to show a well-dressed man sitting next to Sam. Pursuant to Mr. Watt's wishes, Rogers, Mingert, and McCain has installed a secure, dedicated phone line so you may contact us directly when the task is complete. We will then begin a verification process. Note that you must also be on a secure landline to access this number. We will not accept transmissions from comlinks or other such devices. Comlinks being cell phones in this era. Sam straightens up, talks seriously, first time. Look, Diamond Ring, I led a Drek life, and probably led a Drek corpse. I've hurt people, hurt myself, I don't know. Maybe I just want the last word. Maybe I just want someone to give a crap that I sucked air for a while. What do you say? Then I'll get to the bottom of this, someone will pay. I'll say I traded a drinking buddy for a paycheck. Say my schedule's pretty clear right now. 100,000 yen buys a lot of drinks. Now I'll get to the bottom of this. I hope you just said yes. I got a locator chip slotted in my head these days. When my heart stops, it'll activate. That's how you'll find me. See you on the slab. Rest in peace, Sam. See you in Seattle. And thus the game begins in earnest.